have never experienced something like what it's like covering a Caitlin Clark game. It's like going to a...
What does it take for a seasoned professional, someone who's seen it all, to break character and describe something in a way that defies the normal rules of sports? ESPN's Ryan Ruocco, a voice trusted by millions, just did exactly that. And in doing so, he dropped a truth bomb about Caitlin Clark that's sending shockwaves through the entire world of basketball. He didn't just call her great or exciting or a superstar. He said covering her games feels like going to a concert. A concert. Let that sink in for a moment. We're talking about a professional basketball game being compared to a live music event. That single word, concert, changes everything. It's a statement so powerful, so outside the box, that it forces us to see Caitlin Clark not just as a player, but as a full-blown cultural quake. And before we get into the shocking details of the backlash and the undeniable proof, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. What you're about to hear is a story not just about points and rebounds, but about a revolution happening right before our eyes.
Ask everyone we interview, and this might be a little difficult, but who is your favorite athlete in women's sports and why?
Ooh, I'll just tell you what happens when an active play-by-play broadcaster gets asked something like that. Like, even people, if they're like, oh, who's your favorite partners to work with or whatever, it's like you start thinking about, like, how do I not anger people who I have relationships with? So the way I will answer it is this. I have never experienced something like what it's like covering a Caitlin Clark.
The second Ruocco made that comparison, you could almost feel the divide opening up on one side. The fans who have felt that electric energy and nodded in agreement. On the other, a vocal group of haters and purists who absolutely loathed what he said. To them, it wasn't a compliment. It was an insult. An insult to the history of the WNBA. A disrespect to the legends who built the league without this level of fanfare. Their argument is simple. Why does Caitlin Clark get this rockstar treatment when other equally talented players have been grinding for years? This backlash, however, is the very thing that proves Ruocco's point. The fact that a simple analogy can cause as much controversy is undeniable proof that Clark exists in a different space. People don't get this angry about role players. The intensity of the hate is directly proportional to the height of the stardom. The critics can't stand that the conversation isn't about pure basketball fundamentals anymore. It's about atmosphere, spectacle, and a feeling that can't be captured on a stat sheet.
Like going to a concert. And the anticipation when she pulls up from 30 feet, the reaction of the crowd, the attention from home, the emotional investment from fans, and a broad stroke of fans is unlike anything I've experienced in the sports that I cover. So covering her games is just a completely unique experience in the best.
But let's be clear, this isn't just about basketball purists versus new fans. The divide runs much deeper. It taps into a long simmering tension within sports culture itself. For decades, women's athletics has fought for respect based on merit, on skill, on pure fundamentals. Legends like Cheryl Swoops and Cynthia Cooper built the WNBA on a foundation of grit and undeniable talent, often without the glittering spotlight. So, when a phenomenon like Clark emerges, wrapped in unprecedented hype and mainstream buzz, it can feel like a betrayal of that hard-nosed legacy to some. They see the logo threes and the sold-out arenas and ask, what about the two-way players? What about the defensive stalwarts who don't get highlights on SportsCenter? This criticism, while understandable, misses a fundamental point Ruocco was making. He wasn't saying Clark is the most fundamentally sound player to ever live. He was describing the experiential quality of her games. It's the difference between appreciating a technically perfect musician playing in a symphony hall and feeling the raw, chaotic energy of a rock star commanding a stadium of 50,000 people. Both are artists, but the experience they create is worlds apart. Clark, whether by design or by accident, has become that rock star, and the conflict arises because the world of women's basketball has never had to accommodate a star of this particular magnitude before.
And it would be dishonest for me to say anything other than that if you're just talking about a regular season game to a regular season game, because there's just like a very unique phenomenon, which you guys are well aware of, around her that really makes every broadcast she's involved in feel like this big event.
The rules, both on and off the court, are being rewritten in real time, and that process is always inevitably messy and divisive. But what does this concert atmosphere actually look like inside the arena? It's not just a metaphor. It's a physical, palpable reality. It's the way the entire crowd, home and away, rises to its feet the moment she crosses half court with the ball. It's the collective gasp that happens not when the ball swishes through the net, but when it even leaves her hands on a shot from a logo. It's the sea of phone screens held aloft, not to record a game-winning shot, but to capture the mere possibility of one. Opposing coaches call timeouts not just to draw up a play, but to quiet a crowd that's roaring for an opponent. Fans plan road trips months in advance, not to support their home team, but to boo her or cheer her in person. This is the environment Ryan Ruocco works in. This is the phenomenon he was describing. It's a level of emotional investment from the audience that is almost unheard of for a regular season game. Every possession feels like a main event. To truly understand it, you have to break down the anatomy of a typical Caitlin Clark possession. It begins with a murmur, the moment her team gains possession, and she starts to bring the ball up the court. A low hum of anticipation spreads through the arena. It doesn't matter if her team is up by 20 or down by 20. The potential for a highlight is constant. As she crosses a half-court line, the murmur escalates. Defenders, aware of her range, are forced to pick her up well beyond the three-point line, stretching the court in a way that creates bizarre, wide-open spaces for a professional game. This is where the theater begins. She'll dance with the ball at the top of the key, 30 or 35 feet from the basket, a distance most players wouldn't dream of shooting from. The crowd rises, not in a coordinated way, but in a wave, as people sense the moment of truth. Then comes the shot attempt. The gasp Ruocco alluded to is real, a sharp, involuntary intake of breath from thousands of people at once. It's the sound of pure anticipation. In that split second, the game transcends sport. It becomes a question. Is she actually going to make this? When the ball goes in, the explosion is deafening, a release of pent-up energy. When it misses, the groan is equally loud, followed by a palpable sense of maybe next time. This roller coaster on every shot is what makes it a concert. The fans aren't just observing. They are participating in a shared, emotional experience where the outcome is never certain, and the potential for magic is always just one shot away. This incredible phenomenon forces us to ask a very uncomfortable question. Is Caitlin Clark single-handedly redefining women's basketball, or is she brutally exposing how the league was painfully slow to market its own stars? For years, the WNBA was filled with incredible athletes. Lisa Leslie, Diana Taurasi, Maya Moore, Breanna Stewart, players with championship pedigrees and jaw-dropping skill. Yet, the league struggled to capture the mainstream imagination in this way. Then comes Clark. Her appeal wasn't created in a boardroom at ESPN. It exploded organically on social media through her record-breaking college career at Iowa, where she was must-see TV every single night. The networks in the league didn't create the demand. They simply responded to it. Clark's success acts like a bright light, revealing that the potential for this kind of superstardom was always there. The machinery just needed a star who could naturally command the spotlight in a way that transcends the sport itself. The truth likely lies somewhere in the middle. Clark is undoubtedly redefining the game's commercial and cultural ceiling, but she's also exposing a historical failure to package and promote compelling narratives effectively. For years, the league's marketing often focused on a collective one-team ethos or on legacy stars who, while incredible, had already established their careers. The WNBA has always had villains and heroes, intense rivalries, and breathtaking individual performances. But these stories were often contained within the existing fan base. What Clark did differently was capture the attention of the casual fan. Her style of play, logo threes, audacious passes, a visible fiery competitiveness, is perfectly suited for the social media age. A 40-point triple-double is impressive, but a 40-foot buzzer beater is a 10-second clip that can go viral and hook someone who has never watched a minute of women's basketball. The league now has a blueprint. The challenge moving forward is whether it can replicate this phenomenon by identifying and amplifying the next unique personality or playing style that can capture the public's imagination. Clark didn't just break records. She broke the traditional marketing model, proving that in the modern era, a star's connection with the audience can be so powerful that it bypasses all conventional gatekeepers and creates its own gravity. The proof of this impact isn't just in the feelings. It's in the cold, hard numbers. When Caitlin Clark's team comes to town, ticket prices skyrocket. Opposing teams see their stadium sell out for the first time in years. Television ratings smash previous records. Jersey sales go through the roof. This creates a massive financial ripple effect that benefits every single team and player in the league. But here's the fascinating paradox. This very success breeds a quiet, and sometimes not so quiet, resentment. You see it in the sidelong glances during interviews, the subtle digs in press conferences from other players. There's a sense of jealousy, a feeling that the spotlight is unfairly focused. What's ironic is that the increased revenue and visibility Clark generates are what fund the higher salaries and better amenities those same players are fighting for. They're benefiting from a wave, even as they complain about the surfer who brought it in. It's an uncomfortable adjustment for a league that's never had a singular figure dominate the narrative so completely. Let's talk specifics. In the 2024 season, the Indiana Fever, Clark's team, saw a 300% increase in road game attendance. Cities like Phoenix, Atlanta, and Seattle witnessed their largest crowds in franchise history when she came to town. Television ratings for Fever games on national networks doubled, and sometimes tripled, the average viewership for other WNBA matchups. Her jersey became the top-selling jersey for any player in the league, male or female, on Fanatics within hours of its release. This isn't just popularity, it's an economic tsunami. This influx of cash has tangible benefits. It strengthens the league's bargaining position for its next media rights deal, which directly translates to higher salary caps and better player compensation. It attracts new corporate sponsors who want to be associated with this newfound heat. However, this top-down economic logic often clashes with bottom-up human emotion. A veteran player who has dedicated her life to the game might see a rookie getting endorsements and coverage she could only dream of, and it's natural to feel a sense of injustice. The narrative becomes solely about Clark, while other players' career years or championship pursuits get relegated to a footnote. This creates a complex environment where the league is thriving collectively, but individual players within it might feel personally overlooked, creating a tension that is as much a part of the Clark phenomenon as the cheering crowds. Many skeptics were convinced this was all just rookie hype. They expected that in her second year, the league would figure her out, the novelty would wear off, and things would return to normal. But the exact opposite has happened. Caitlin Clark isn't just maintaining the hype, she's growing into it. She's improving her all-around game, handling the physicality of the pros, and continuing to produce highlight reel moments night after night. This sustainability is what's truly driving the critics insane. The fact that Ryan Ruocco, after a full season more, can still say with a straight face that her games are a unique experience proves this is no flash in the pan. The hype hasn't cooled down. It's solidified into a permanent fixture. She is the main event, and year 2 has confirmed that this is the new normal for the WNBA. The sophomore slump is a common trope in sports for a reason. Opponents have a full year of film to study your tendencies. They learn your weaknesses and devise specific strategies to exploit them. For Clark, this meant facing even more aggressive, physical defense designed to wear her down and force her into mistakes. And yet, she has adapted. Her scoring averages have remained elite, but more importantly, her playmaking and court vision have visibly improved. She's making smarter reads, finding open teammates with incredible passes, and showing resilience that proves her mental toughness matches her physical talent. The concert atmosphere Ruocco described hasn't diminished. It has evolved. It's no longer just about the shock of the new. It's now a testament to her ability to deliver on enormous expectations consistently. The hype is no longer based on potential. It's being validated by performance and growth. This transformation from a novelty act to a bona fide, improving superstar is what separates a moment from a movement. The critics who waited for the bubble to burst are now facing the reality that this might just be the beginning. Her game is expanding, her influence is growing, and her ability to captivate an audience is proving to be a durable, defining feature of her career, not just a brief headline from her rookie year. This entire situation mirrors the rise of other transformative athletes. Think about Steph Curry. When he started pulling up from 30 feet regularly, basketball purists lost their minds. They called it a bad shot, claiming it wasn't real basketball. But Curry wasn't just playing the game, he was changing it. He forced every team at every level to rethink their entire strategy. Caitlin Clark is initiating a similar shift. The backlash she faces is identical to the backlash every generational talent receives when they disrupt the established order. The uncomfortable truth of stardom is that it's never fair. It's not about being the most statistically perfect player. It's about possessing that rare, intangible quality that captivates the public's imagination. LeBron James had it. Tiger Woods had it. And now, the evidence overwhelmingly suggests that Caitlin Clark has it. The conversation around her is bigger than basketball, and that is the ultimate sign of a cultural icon. The pattern is unmistakable. These athletes become lightning rods because their success forces a reevaluation of everything we thought we knew about their sport. With Curry, the very geometry of the basketball court was altered. Defenses that had been effective for decades suddenly became obsolete. Clark is provoking a similar, fundamental question about the marketability of women's sports. For years, the conventional wisdom was that it required a slow, careful build, that audiences wouldn't embrace female athletes with the same fervor as male ones. Clark's explosive arrival, fueled by a style of play that is both audacious and instantly recognizable, shatters that limiting belief. She proves that the audience for women's basketball wasn't small. It was simply waiting for a product that matched the excitement and star power of the men's game. Furthermore, the intensity of the conversation around her, the think pieces, the viral debates, the constant media scrutiny, is not a sign that she is overrated. On the contrary, it is the exact same noise that surrounded a young LeBron James. It is the sound of a cultural moment being born. People aren't just arguing about basketball skills. They're arguing about legacy, about race, about equity, and about the future of an entire league. This is what happens when an athlete transcends their sport. They become a canvas onto which the broader culture projects its anxieties and its hopes. Clark, whether she sought it or not, has become that canvas. Her performance on the court is now intertwined with larger discussions about fame, merit, and progress, cementing her status not just as a player, but as a phenomenon whose impact will be studied long after a final game. So where does this leave us? Ryan Ruocco's concert comment was more than just a cool soundbite. It was a professional diagnosis of a phenomenon. Caitlin Clark has achieved something incredibly rare. She has become the story, regardless of whether she wins or loses on a given night. Her presence turns a game into an event. The haters, in their relentless efforts to nitpick and tear her down, have ironically become her most effective promoters, keeping her name constantly in the spotlight. She has forced the entire sports world to pay attention to women's basketball in a way it never has before, creating new fans and inspiring a generation. The final verdict is clear. We are not just watching a great basketball player. We are watching history unfold in real time. We are witnessing an athlete become a legend and a sport find its most powerful voice. The concert is in town and everyone has a ticket. What did you think? Are we watching the greatest transformation in women's sports history, or is there still a bigger picture we're missing? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you want to stay on top of these unfolding stories, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss an upload.